We're back. Brad and Michael going to talk a little bit about fees. This is something we see LOs talk about all the time on social media, right, Brad?
It's more like real estate agents too.
Yeah, and realtors. And I see a lot of wrong answers out there in a lot of places, whether it's over the telephone, whether it's on social media. So before we get into all the wrong answers and why some of those answers might be wrong, let's just go through the basics. This is going to be in Chapter 8, VA 26.7, Chapter 8, Section 2 and 3. High level, actually pretty darn simple. The VA has a bucket of fees the veteran can pay and a bucket of fees the veteran cannot pay or cannot pay under certain circumstances. Right, Brad?
Correct. The big one that the veteran cannot pay, does not matter who is closing this loan, is the real estate admin fee.
Correct. So that's item 3. So Chapter 8, Section 3, C, brokerage fees. The pretty darn clear. VA loan fees or commissions may not be charged. I'm just straight up reading this because I don't want anybody to misquote me. That one is pretty darn clear. You could clarify that with your team or realtor all day long. The other component that goes under that category is actually the realtor's commission as a buyer side agent. So if you see a veteran buying one of these auction houses and then they're trying to tack commission on top of that, you think that's allowed? Nope. No, it's pretty clear right here. That's not allowed. So it's something you got to be very careful about.
I've seen real estate agents be crafty with their charges though.
Right.
So it's on us to make sure that we properly educate and set the expectations up front. These fees are not allowed.
Now remember, this does not say that a seller cannot pay. It just says the veteran cannot pay. So in a standard transaction in most of the country, the seller is actually paying realtor's commissions and in many cases a co-op commission to each side.
Yep.
Totally normal stuff, happens all day long. But remember, that's coming out of the seller's side and not the veteran's side. All right. Now, let's talk about fees the veteran can pay. There's pretty much the standard fees with a few exceptions. You got to be careful on discount points. The VA says reasonable. Most people interpret that, I believe, to be 2, but I've seen some lenders that have different interpretations of that.
Very loosely interpreted.
Very loosely interpreted, correct. And or a flat charge by the lender. A flat charge in many cases is an origination fee, processing or underwriting. They all kind of go in that same bucket on the original set of disclosures. One item here that I think is relevant and it's important to bring up is actually Chapter 8, Section 2C. The veteran can also pay for a second appraisal if he or she is requesting reconsideration of value. I've actually helped loan officers argue this, and they've heard their lenders say that the veteran can never pay that. That's not true. If the veteran is requesting a reconsideration of value and the SAR deems, and the VA deems that it's okay for them to go down that path of ordering that appraisal, if the veteran initiated the request, it's pretty darn clear that the veteran could pay for that. Now, if it's the lender or one of the sellers or agents that's making that request and the veteran is okay with it, where that initiated matters. In a case like that, the veteran cannot pay for a second appraisal, correct?
Correct.
All right, so just be very careful on that one if you run into it. Again, we're not the compliance police, but that one, again, it's right there. You can read it in black and white. Now, super important. Understand that you'll see in Chapter 8, Section 2, a whole big list of things the veteran borrower can pay or cannot pay. And there's a section here that says D, lender's 1% flat fee charge. Now, if you watch us teach the course, and if you've gone through other sections of the course, you might have seen us covering this in the class that we teach to real estate agents. This, I think, is a little bit confusing sometimes in the main section of the 26.7. I believe there was a fantastic circular that clarified this, and it's a circular that Brad knows very, very well. So Brad, dive into this circular, throw out the number real quick, and describe how that works.
We're referring to 26-14-10. All right, this provides clarification on allowable, unallowable fees as it pertains to the VA home loan. The main thing to take out of this is the 1% fee is intended to cover all of the lender's costs. Okay, so if it's intended to cover the lender's cost, the lender can either charge a flat 1%, or they can charge a collective amount of up to 1%. Okay, where this myth comes from is back in the day when home prices, because that 1%, when you get lower loan amounts, it becomes very tricky to put, to squeeze all your fees into there, right? So if you only charge $900 as a lender and the loan amount is
90 grand,
you met the 1%,
right?
But I'm not a big box lender. I'm not going to charge 1% for a $300,000 purchase.
Right.
My fees stay the exact same, and yours do too, and everybody else. Okay. So if you have a $300,000 purchase, I'm not going to charge a veteran $3 grand for the cost of doing business. Right. I'm going to collectively charge all the fees up to 1%, right, to make our offers more competitive. All right. Make sense?
Yes. So if you're charging 1% as a lender, or if you've charged a total of 1% in all the other buckets, like for example, the settlement fee or the pest fee, at some point when you exceed that 1%, the veteran all of a sudden falls into the category that they cannot pay those fees. Correct? So, like you said, Brad, if you, the lender, charge that, for example, $3,000 on the $300,000 transaction, in a case like that, could the veteran pay that pest inspection fee?
If it's included in the flat 1%, yes, but it's not included. The
No.
flat 1% goes straight to the home lender.
So who could pay that pest inspection fee in that case?
Anybody involved in the transaction.
Anybody that's not the veteran, right?
Just not the veteran.
Gotcha.
Correct. Now, if you charge a collective method, where we charge a collective amount of up to 1%, right here in this circular, it states the policy, if, that's the big if the lender charges the flat 1% origination fee, the veteran can no longer pay for unallowable fees as expressed in Chapter 8. So there is right there in black and white. If you charge a 1%, the veteran cannot pay for the pest and termite. If you have not met your 1%, the veteran can pay for it. Now, I highly encourage you to get out in your community and find a home inspector and work with them to do some sort of discount program, because it only makes you look better in the long run.
Just to summarize, we could list all these fees and put them off in a separate chart for you. And yes, we'll probably have that off to the side of this video. But the important thing to understand is that if you look through the fees that fall into this bucket of non-allowable, you're going to find fairly large fees like the title closing fee, like the pest inspection fee, the lender's fees. Those fees can add up to 1%, and the veteran can pay them. If they go over 1%, somebody else has to pay them. So you just have to be cognizant of the totals when you're doing this math. So if a closer comes back to you, or if a realtor comes to you and tells you a veteran can't pay something, go in, do the math, make sure you understand how that 1% rule works, which fees would fall into that category, and then you'll know as the veteran mortgage advisor whether they're right or whether they're wrong.
Correct.
All right, that's all we got. Check your notes. There'll be questions on this on the test, I promise you.